Hello and welcome. KL Johnson here, speaking to you from humble Wichita, Kansas. I am about to demonstrate a movement activity, a literacy movement activity. I'm dreaming up the name right now. It might go something like Up and Atom Vocab OMG. We're going to start over here with this activity, and it involves movement because you're rotating from thing to thing. You're constantly moving. You might come over here, and what your job is going to be is you're going to be pulling from these classic books. I don't know if you can see some of these. Greek myths, Little Women. We've got some more Greek myths. We've got Mahatma Gandhi. We've got actually the Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln. And we have a dictionary, although I do encourage students to get up as they're working and utilize this, because in the 21st century, teachers who balk at having students look up words on Google, I mean, think about it. Google is our human extended memory, and it's infinite in its capacity. So, but still, I want them to learn, about the alphabet. I want them to learn about words that are in the middle, in the first quarter, in the final quarter. I want them to understand how to find words in the dictionary. So you've got a lap table here, and you can either pick it up and put it onto your lap, which I usually would not recommend, but you're going to pull a book out of here that looks interesting to you. Let's just say I'm interested in Greek myths. Actually, I want to say I'm interested in the Gettysburg Address. And it may be above level, but all that you're doing is searching for a term anywhere in here that you do not know what it means. Let's just say the student sees this word right here, and it's a multisyllabic word, and perhaps they're a first grader, and they're trying to sound this word out. Well, they're going to copy it verbatim onto here. They may even think it's the soft C. Saw. Okay. And their job is simple. They're going to look at the context of that word. Abraham Lincoln was born February 12th, 1809, then in Hardin, now in the more recently formed county of Luray, Kentucky. His father, Thomas, and grandfather Abraham were born in Rockingham County. And I'm thinking that I use the word county instead of county. We're just going to pretend like it said. No, I was on a different page. Okay, come on. We're on the 407 years ago page. Sorry, guys. My bad. Okay, 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. And there are a lot of words in there that students may not know, but I want them to focus on continent. They can move on to these other ones later. And I encourage them to come back around and do that so that they can understand this full paragraph through the meaning of words. They're going to look up continent. Literally, they're going to look up continent in this dictionary, because usually the computer over there is pretty full. There's usually a lot of students crowded around that. And I have multiple dictionaries. I have giant picture dictionaries and everything. And they're going to write the definition down right here. Continent, a land mass surrounded, blah, blah, blah. Okay? And it's a large land mass, and they're going to find out things like that. And they can always come back and visit this. The only rule is that when you come back to this center, you need to continue within at least one paragraph of what you began your studies in. The second one I will bring you to is an activity. You can move over to this freely. I mean, you get to choose what you want to do, and you're working in teams. So remember, this table has lots of people huddled around it. I mean, right now, you just see me. That's a little dull. But when you see this, you've got like maybe 3 kids huddled around this computer. And they're Googling. And right now I'm using my GRE words. So right now I've got fatuous. And I understand that fatuous means that you consider yourself to be absolutely perfect and you're just oblivious to all of your personal flaws. And what helps a student sometimes to learn a vocabulary word and to shelve it in their memory is to have a picture to associate with it. I associate fatuous with, you know, the beginnings of a relationship. You know, I do, I'm in love. And sometimes we tend to, you know, be fatuous to our flaws and the other person's flaws because we're completely in love. We don't see in our relationship any flaws, generally. And we have journals here, we have scissors to cut out numerous articles, and tape. And then finally we have another center, and there'd be a lot more centers than this. There's one that I couldn't set up indoors, but it's an activity where you toss balls at this goal thing. Okay, the next activity that you can move to is where you're going to take and you're going to spell your word. And my GRE word is tacit. It's something that's pretty implied or assumed, and it's understood without any need for being explained. So I would take my tiles and just to kind of shelve this word tacit in my brain, I would spell it here. And then I would think of a synonym, and my synonym is obvious. So I'm going to take the tiles and I'm going to spell the word obvious. And that's just my rendition. That might not suit you. And then I would write on here, on my paper, the synonym obvious. And I'm finished there. Now, that doesn't mean I'm completely finished because there's a lot more words over here. There's burnish. There's impervious. There's aspersion, which probably wouldn't be, and asperity probably wouldn't be a very good first grade word. But anyway, there's all these words. And then there's these characters, like let's just say impervious. Or, what's the one that I wanted to... Okay, all right. And any of these characters, I'll let you think for a minute. Which one of these characters do you think would be impervious to something like, you know, outside forces, inclement weather? I chose the little turtle because he's got his shell. And I'd also, when students work over here, their work is published and graduated to over here. I have lots of these, large and small. And so they have pictures to go on. And right here I've got impervious as the telephone is impervious. It's a waterproof phone. It's one of those ones that are getting a lot of acclaim now because of, you know, accidents in the bathroom and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so these are my GRE words. Now we would have simpler words for our first grade, or vocabulary words for our first grade through, you know, elementary school. The point is we want to bring in items that can be moved around and items that can be placed maybe next. But we're trying to use mnemonics. We're trying to use, I think that's what you call it. We're trying to employ the idea of storing these into our short-term memory in such a way that they can be moved into the long-term memory. And then we are also wanting to practice using these words. And that is not necessarily going to be a movement activity in the beginning until the words are mastered. But then after, we can definitely involve all sorts of things. Well, believe me, I've got like more balls. Did I just say that? I have a lot of spherical objects, I'll just say that are light and they can't injure people, and they can be thrown back and forth, and we can be building a story, constructing a story using vocabulary, constructing phrases or sentences. And this is K.L. Johnson, and this is a literacy movement activity that I wanted to submit for a wonderful class that I took on the 21st of January. And I guess that's all for now. Tacit. Obvious. That might not be your synonym, but it is mine. It has no need for explanation. It's pretty much implicitly understood. Tacit. You might think of like I look at this character and I imply that this is a princess. I look at the wolf and I'm not sure what his role is in society. It's not obvious to me, but I know that you know, I take it as tacit that this is a princess, and I can move it around. You know, I want to get this word tacit into my long-term memory so that I can apply it. Thank you for listening. K.L. Johnson speaking to you from humble Wichita, Kansas.